was watching college football.
Alright, we should be live now. Nathan Budnett, episode 14, the first part with my dad, talking about the NBA top 75 list. As you can tell, the Discord window looks a little weird because my dad is not very good with technology. And as you can see, he's got the default Discord profile pic, so that should tell you everything you need to know. Alright. So, Dad, where do you wanna start off with this? Like, who's the biggest guy that should be on there that isn't on there?
You hit me with the hard questions first, huh? I don't really know if there's a number one top guy that should be on there. I could immediately go to the Spurs and say that out of the top three players that helped the Spurs win a championship, the only player that is in that top 75 is Tim Duncan. But you can tell that the major sports network that put this together did a little bit of their research, and as stats go, Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, they don't technically have the stats to put themselves in the top 75. But one of the biggest comments that you made to me the other day was of one player that. And I can't even remember which player we were talking about.
I mentioned Dwight Howard.
That had. Okay, there you go. There's one example. I do not feel like Dwight Howard should be in the top 75 whatsoever.
What? How?
Yes, he won Defensive Player of the Year. How many times did he win Defensive Player of the Year? I think 3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay. His stats do not rank among some of the top players that have played the game. I'm sorry. I don't think Dwight Howard should be in there. At all. I mean, okay, so let's go with this then. Okay, let me focus on one player, and then I have a second one that I was gonna throw at you that I did last night. Okay, Artis Gilmore, not in the top 75. Go to field goal percentages. Okay, and obviously that's not a huge stat with like I said, with the network that put this together. But he ranks 9th all time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he is the only player outside of Bobby Jones that is an inactive player, not in the league anymore, because his time was even before my time. That is still in the top 10 in total field goal percentage. The guy had the NBA record for field goal percentages, I believe, 6 seasons in a row. And he's not going to make the top 75? Come on now. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the other players that we were talking about that is in the top 75
hey, we got
has
3
no
viewers.
championship.
Nice. Shut up. Oh, I didn't mean
has
to cut you
no
off
championship rings at all. I love this guy. You know how I feel about this guy. Hardest working player in the NBA currently, Damien Lillard. Why? Why is he in the top 75? He has not. If we're going to focus on championship rings, why? Why is he in there? His stats are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But at the same time, if we are going to focus our attention here on guys in the top 75 that have gotten championships, Lillard has not gotten any.
Yeah. I don't think it should be based on championships though. I know that there's like a huge thing, like people have this big stigma that a championship is the best thing that you can add to your resume. And I do agree with that, but you cannot have a championship and still stimulate your resume with other things. Like Giannis just got a championship, but he had all these other accomplishments. You have Chris Paul. Chris Paul hasn't won a single championship still, but he just broke the record, or he just became the only person last night with 20,000 points and 10,000 assists. And you can look at all the awards that he has as well. And you have Anthony Davis on the fucking list. Anthony Davis is only on there. He's only been in the league for 9 years, and he's only been with the Lakers for like 2 or 3. And his only championship was with LeBron, where LeBron was already on that list, and it's one of the many controversial rings because it was in the COVID bubble. And before he was on the Lakers, he was in New Orleans, and New Orleans was doing almost as shit as they are now. So it's like, why the fuck is Anthony Davis on the list? But the only reason he's on the list is, again, because he has a championship, but that championship is so insignificant for him to be on that list.
Yeah, I agree. He's another player that I don't think should be in. You know what? Take Anthony Davis out and put Pau Gasol in.
Oh, Mom's actually watching on YouTube. Mom just said in the chat. We got Mom and Dad on here. Nice, that's crazy. Mom said championships are team achievements, but this is an individual list, so rings should not matter at all. I agree a little bit with that, because I mean, you have players that have like so many rings that like it should matter. Like you have Bill Russell, obviously, and you have I'm pretty sure like Steve Kerr's on that list. Like, I think rings should matter.
Wait. Wait a minute. What list? Steve Kerr is on what list?
I'm pretty sure Steve Kerr is on that list.
Steve Kerr did not make the top 75.
Oh.
He's commented on the top 75 several times, but yeah, Kerr never made it.
Oh.
Kerr was always. Kerr reminded me in the NBA of. I'll probably get ridiculed for this, but John Paxson. He was a supportive player to Michael Jordan. And outstanding player. But, going back to Chris Paul, when you were talking about points and assists, I went on there and looked to see whether or not any of the top 5 in assists had made it, and everybody that I could think of during my era had made it. Kidd is on there, I believe Nash is on there, Stockton's on there, again, Chris Paul, great player. Do I think that he really should be a part of the top 75? I don't know. But, I mean, let's go back to Gasol. Gasol was ranks, I believe, and Fox did a story on this a couple days ago, ranks among the top 40 in 5 major statistical categories. Why is Gasol not in there? Take Anthony Davis out, put Gasol in.
Well, to go back to what I was saying about the rings, though, what I was going to say about the rings is rings should matter if it's players that have won rings as coaches as well. Because, like, Bill Russell has rings as a coach, Steve Kerr has rings as a coach, and Mom actually just said in the chat, she's freaking out that Kerr's not on the list because she hasn't looked at the list, I don't think. Or if she has, she thought Kerr was on it just like I did. She said Kerr should be on there supporting for several teams and has achieved success as a coach. So the people I think should be on the list are people that have changed the game in some way or know the game so well that they have achieved like multiple things in different roles. So like a coach, a player, whatever the case may be. And, we talk about people changing the game. Michael Jordan obviously changed the game. LeBron James is changing the game. But then you got players that aren't on there that we've talked about before, like Vince Carter. Like Vince Carter was like known for like his dunking skills, and and he's not on there. And he kind of there's other players on there as well, like again Dwight Howard. I know you don't want Dwight Howard on there, but like there are like people like Dwight Howard and other people like showed the importance of like a big man on a team. Like Tim Duncan did that. Tim Duncan's on the list. Hakeem showed the importance of a big guy on a team. I feel like there's a problem that they had with this list is there's a lot of guards on the list.
There's always going to be a lot of guards on the list.
There's a lot of guards because they're the ones facilitating the play, but then you have
exactly right.
so many big guys you have so many big guys like Tim Duncan, for example, that can also carry a team. And even though Tim Duncan's on the list, you got to think of like other people that have done the same thing that aren't on the list. You know what I mean? Because the point guard is not always the best player on your team. I mean, a perfect example in today's NBA would be Giannis. I mean, I know I talk about Giannis literally like every episode of the podcast, but I mean, Giannis dropped fucking 50 in the playoffs, and you're going to try and tell me like the point guard's the best guy on the team? I mean, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, great players, but Giannis is the Bucks franchise player. And another problem they had with the list is, and this has been talked about a lot as well, is they didn't allow themselves enough wiggle room because they did this list for the top 50 players. All of those top 50 players are still there. So all they could really do was add another 25 rather than going through their previous 50 and being like, okay, who in the past 25 years has made the leap to replace somebody in this top 50. Instead, they were like, okay, we have our top 50 list, let's add 25 to it. And then they fucked that up too because they actually have 26 on there. So it's like you had one job, at least have 75 players on there. You didn't even do that. You have 76.
It absolutely outstanding point, Nathan. But guess what? What are we doing about it? What is everybody else doing about it? We're talking about it.
Yeah.
And that is why they continue to create these lists. They know that it's going to open things up for debate. They know that it's going to open discussion, and they know that people are going to talk about it until the NBA has hit 100 years, and the same network creates a top 100 list.
Yeah, it's always going to be.
If you want to talk about big men,
yeah.
Hey, here's a big man that's not on the list: Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah, I was actually thinking.
Look at his stats. Top 10, I believe he is in top 10 in 3 of the major big man stats all time. Not on the list. And again, how many championships did he win?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he won one.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, and like, I don't know how many people will agree with this for like top 75, but at least like argued probably like top 80 at least. Yao Ming. Yao Ming doesn't have a championship, and he did a lot for the Rockets, just like Hakeem did.
I don't know about Yao Ming. Fundamentally, Yao was, man, I don't know.
At least top 100.
I could say,
top 100.
But he never actually did. He never propelled Houston to an actual championship.
Yeah, and that's something I give Fernando crap for all the time. Every time he talks crap about the Spurs, I was like, we have 5. How many do you have again? 1, and it was like 1995?
Well, I mean, hey, okay, so you brought up the ring thing again, all right? So let's talk about clutch players that didn't necessarily change the league, but changed an individual game and helped more than one team win multiple championships. Not on the list. Robert Horry.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up. How many does he have?
By the way, guys, if I'm looking at my
7.
phone, it's because I'm looking at the list. I don't want to seem like I'm not paying attention. It's because every time I'm looking down, I'm checking the list again. Yeah, Mom said Ming didn't play long enough because he was injury prone. So I mean, that like I know a lot of people were talking about like D Rose should be on there. But D Rose got injured, and there's that constant debate of where would D Rose be if he didn't get injured. So I mean, that's a topic for another day.
Not even going to discuss Derrick Rose.
No.
Should not be on the list.
Mom said Derek Fisher.
There's another one, and I was gonna actually throw him out there. But Robert Horry has more rings than Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Robert Horry has 7.
Yeah.
Fisher, I think, has 5 or 6.
There's one that I've kind of jumped back and forth on in the past couple of days. Like at first I was like, oh, he shouldn't be on the list. And then I was thinking like, well, he has broken a couple 3 records, and now again I'm like, take him off the list. And I've jumped back and forth. But James Harden is like one I'm like 50-50 on. Like I can see why he should be on the list, but I see arguments for why you should replace him for somebody else again, that like the people that we've talked about today. Like,
the only reason why
he's
I
kind
think
of up there with Curry, kind of, but
the only reason why I think Harden could be debated as to being excluded from the list is because at one point in time Harden was interviewed, and an open question was thrown out to him as to whether or not he likes to play defense, and he openly and very bluntly says, "No, I can't stand playing defense." So he is strictly, I mean, he has told the public that he would rather be known as only an offensive player. So how are you going to put somebody in the top 75 that has told the general public, I'm not a balanced player. I don't want to be a balanced player.
Yeah.
I want to be known for strictly offense. That's tough.
Yeah.
But there are other players in that top 75 that have also said the same thing, that are in as well, that have said that it's not that they refuse to play defense, they just don't like to.
Mm-hmm. And I know it's like kind of like a meme at this point, but like going back to Harden, like I know this is like a constant debate that people bring up like all the time, but where would Harden be without like certain fouls? Like the foul baiting rule just came into effect, so I'm sure that we're gonna be able to see that a little bit. But I talked about it last episode. Like people were literally guarding Harden with like hands behind their back because they didn't want to get called. So how many threes would he actually have if people were to guard him without getting fouled? You know what I mean? Because even during the Bucks Nets game, like even with the new foul baiting rules, I think Thanasis, or however you pronounce it, Thanasis, Giannis's brother was guarding him, and even with the new foul baiting rules, Thanasis still had like his hands behind his back because he didn't want to get called for anything. So it's like, how many threes would Harden really have if people could actually play defense on him? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I could play devil's advocate here and say Manu is not on the list, and how many players never wanted to guard Manu because of his how do I put it? Manu clearly flopped a lot. Manu clearly on the offensive side of the ball made it look like if you touched him, he was going to tell you he was being fouled. I love Manu to death. Absolutely outstanding Spurs player. But at the same time, I mean, you have those set players. Hell, I'll go even further and say, how many times did Michael Jordan take the offensive side of the court and go up for a layup? He wasn't even touched and got called for a foul.
Yeah.
Refs.
That's also MJ,
I mean,
though.
Well, yeah. I mean, but at the same time, how as a ref are you going to call that game? Are you going to let Michael Jordan get beat up every time he goes up for a layup and does some spectacular play that you've never seen before?
Yeah.
No, you're not going to stop the game. You're going to let it keep going because that's what the fans want to see.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like why I said like that's MJ though, is because like MJ made it a point. Like everybody jokes that like, oh, Harden gets most of his points from free throws. You can't really say that MJ's a flopper because anytime he wasn't getting called for a field goal, for a foul, he like did something amazing to show that he has playing ability. Like even whenever he took the free throws, he like he did like the I forgot which player it was, but he was like, "Hey, this one's for you." And then he shot the free throw with his eyes closed. Like he proved that he didn't need the charity stripe. And Kobe did the same thing. Like there's that constant there's that gif or gif, however you pronounce it, of Kobe at the free throw line, and he gets past the ball and he does like the shimmy backwards and like shoots the free throw from like almost the 3-point line to show that like he doesn't need the free throw line.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's take a step back for a second. Who?
Mom said MJ is the TB12 of basketball. I don't know who TB12 is. I guess that's Is that Tom Brady, I'm assuming?
That would probably be the case. I'm guessing, yes.
I don't watch football,
but
that's why I do a basketball podcast.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Kind of got thrown out there for a second, but
we were talking about MJ and fouls.
No, I know. Where did you get your information from whenever you said there's a lot of people that say that the majority of Harden's points have come from free throws?
Not like I'm not saying that the majority of his points come from free throws. I'm saying that's like a meme that people say like, because people.
Oh, okay.
Because it was a constant debate between like Harden and Giannis had like a beef for a while. Because Harden was like, Giannis is only in the NBA because he's 7 foot and he can dunk. And Giannis replied back with, "You're only in the NBA because you can cry like a baby and shoot free throws." And so like everybody was saying like, Harden like gets poked and they call a foul on him. And like you see the memes everywhere where like I can't think of a good example right now. Oh, I think it was like there was a compilation somebody made of like the most random delay of games or something in basketball. And like one of them was like somebody brought a fake whistle to like confuse the players and the refs. And then like Harden was saying that he should get free throws for it. And it's like it had nothing to do with the foul though. And he still got like I think he got like I'm pretty sure he got 2 shots. And it's like, how the fuck does that work? And then I think there was another one where, like, obviously you had the bat at, like, AT&T Center. And then, like, one of the comments was something like Harden would have gotten a foul called on the bat or something like that. Like, there's just a bunch of memes like that.
So,
yeah, mom said nobody could challenge MJ just like nobody challenges Brady in football, yeah.
I'm not going to argue that point, but I mean, yeah, I will. There are so many players that challenged Michael Jordan.
I'm going to close my door.
There are so many players that...
So, you can keep going.
There are so many players that challenged him and got beat down. But I think it's funny because of all of the times that Harden went to the free throw line, um, how does 10 points from free throws match 65 points total for a game? Okay, so if you take that, that's a percentage of 10 points out of 65.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, add that up. What is that? 18%? 18% of his total points scored in a game came from free throws. Just off the top of my head, I was going to say if you're going to throw the free throw topic into the mix within the top 75, one of the greatest that always complained about being fouled was Isaiah Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. You want to talk about a guy that
And he's on the list.
And he's on the list. Yeah. Not only is he on the list, I believe he's top 25. I believe he was actually top 15. I can't remember where he stacked up whenever they released bit by bit and piece by piece, but
Yeah.
golly,
Well, I don't think
I used to
it's in
despise
order.
watching him.
It's not in order. I'm pretty sure it's alphabetical. It's alphabetical.
It's alphabetical.
Because we
Yeah.
talked about that last episode on the podcast, like how much we're debating it now. And then I had said, like, imagine how debated it would be if they numbered it. Like, holy fuck. The amount
And what do you think they're
you
what do you
know?
think ESPN's gonna can I say ESPN? What do you think ESPN is going to do whenever they release the top 100? I guarantee they're going to rank from 1 to 100.
Maybe.
Don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on this. I may be totally wrong. But whenever they released the NFL's top, they did do it
Mhm.
1 to I want to say 1 to 50, and then I think they also
Yeah.
have a 1 to 100. And man, the debates and the topics
Yeah.
and the criticism, it went on for years.
But we were talking about that. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we were talking about that earlier. Like, what is the risk reward there? Because like, we're talking about it now, and that gets clicks, and then that gets people talking about the NBA. But at the same time, you're gonna have people that already arguing. There's people already arguing now, like MJ versus LeBron, and then you number it, and then there's gonna be people on either side that are gonna be like screaming, cursing, like riots in the streets if one player is over another player, you know. So what's the risk
the
reward
reason
there?
there is no risk. There is no risk. The only risk involved is when a commentator or a major sports analyst says something that is so asinine and gets ridiculed for that. There is no risk. The reward, however, is it gives each commentator and analyst the opportunity to give their opinion based on their own facts or not as to who should be in and who should be in, who should not be in, and that's exactly what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel honestly, I feel there's no risk whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just feel like there would be a lot of turmoil created behind it, but at the same time, I feel like there's also the possibility that it would be over quickly, so it wouldn't really matter. Because, like, I saw, as much as I don't like Twitter, I use it because of the podcast, and I saw, like, some stuff where people were obviously really mad whenever, like, the list got finalized, but then, like, the NBA like kept talking about it and is like still talking about it now a couple days later about the 75, and like there was a couple like comments under it that said like, honestly at this point we don't care anymore, like stuff like that. So you know what I mean?
No.
Like
That yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. I really don't.
I wonder who tied though, because obviously they don't say. I wonder like who tied.
What do you mean?
Because there's 76 on there because of a tie. So I wonder who
Oh,
tied.
hmm.
Because
That would.
we obviously don't know because it's not numbered like we said. So
It'd be interesting to see if you could find that information out.
there's no way you could. There's no possible way you could, because it's not the only way to know is if they released it somewhere, or if they numbered it, because if they numbered it then it would be 75 76, and then because it's all NBA representatives, team representatives, like staff members that are voting on like who
Mm-hmm.
the best player is. And like what I found kind of weird, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they were going to include fan voting into it, kind of like MVP voting. And I don't think, at least I didn't see anywhere, like a poll for people to vote anywhere. And I feel like it would have been way more interesting, and maybe they do it for top 100, but I mean, at that point, you're going to be, 70 years old, and I'm going to be about your age, where they allow like fans to vote for it, because I'm like 99% positive whenever they were talking about making the top 75 list, they were going to be like, oh yeah, this is going to be a combination of everybody voting, like coaches voting, staff voting, Adam Silver, and then the fans get to decide as well. So like, but I don't think I saw voting anywhere from the fans. So that
No,
was kind of
no.
disappointing.
And well, yes and no. I mean, uh, I think if you were to open it up for fans to vote,
You would get
there might be a
ridiculous
couple of
responses.
yes, yes,
Mm.
there'd be a couple players in there where everybody would be shaking their heads, going, "Really? That
Yeah.
guy? That guy's in there because of a popular vote?" No, no.
It's like
Um,
what's that boat? Hang on, I gotta look it up. There was like a boat that like people voted for the name on it. And oh yeah, here, yeah. So there was a Texas boat. I'm pretty sure it was a Texas boat. Let me try and find it. Oh no, it was a British. I don't know why I thought it was Texas. So
big difference between Texas and British.
well, because I could have sworn I read the word Texas, but now I'm reading it and it says England. But in March 2016, they had a contest to name a research ship, and because it was an online voting, the boat was named Bodie McBoatface. So I mean, that's a perfect example right there. Like who's like a really bad player? Like people would just meme it and vote like a player that only played like one season or something. You know what I mean? Or like somebody that's in the G League right now.
Yeah. Lamar Odom would make the list.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to look it up. Players that have only played one season. Who just messaged me on Discord? Oh no, that's Connor's thing. Never mind. Here's a link. The NBA players who played 0 minutes in a season. Oh, never mind. I don't even know these names. But yeah, people would definitely meme it. So I kind of see where the NBA is coming from that. But I also feel like, it would have been fun to get some fan voting in there somehow. Maybe there's like moderation. Maybe you put like 150 names on there, and people vote from those 150 names for the top 75. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
or you have each fan that votes fill out a 25 question survey just to find out what they know
how
versus what
dumb
they
they
don't
are.
know. Yeah.
This is
make them
literally
take a wit test.
this is literally going into like U.S. elections now, where people are saying like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you
well,
got to take a
you know,
literacy test."
if you score below a 12 on the WIC, you cannot vote for your favorite top 75 NBA player.
Wow.
You know?
But I mean, all-star voting, there's no moderation too. So you get like random stuff in all-star voting, because all-star voting, like, you can vote for any NBA player that's currently playing. So you get like you get players that had like 5 minutes in a game that are getting like a handful of votes. And then there's also like there's no moderation to that either, because you can vote multiple times. And then you can also like use alternate emails and stuff like that. Like, I voted twice in all-star voting. Like, I used my business email and then my primary email to vote twice. I mean, there's no moderation to all-star voting, so you'd have to do it somehow for if you did do top 75, you would have to moderate somehow too, because what's stopping somebody, especially me, like a computer science major, like, I'm sure you could code something that somehow creates 100 fake emails and then sends all those fake emails to vote, so that this one player has 100 votes from throwaway emails. And yeah.
Good point. Very good point.
There's already stuff on YouTube for that. Like, people get subs from bots because, like, there's a system that they can just purchase. They basically purchase the numbers on the screen, where it just creates, if they buy 100 subs, it creates 100 fake emails, and then those emails all subscribe to a channel. And, that's pretty much already a thing. You just have to make them vote for a specific player or something. But anyway, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, that's all I got.
Okay. Do you have anything else for the top 75, or did we pretty much cover anything? Oh, actually, I do have one more thing. Like, I was going to say, it was like, if you watch that top 75 video, like the NBA lane, they have jerseys that are hanging up in that video that aren't on the list, which are, once again, are like Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, like stuff like that. It's like, how are you going to show their jerseys like amongst like these great players in the video and then not have them in your list?
And they didn't get selected.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, very very good point. That yeah. Yeah, you're probably one of the few that that noticed that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll be talking about it until the next list comes out, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I got for the fans, I got Swiss Eel coming on tomorrow, and we're pretty much gonna talk about the list the same we did with my mom here, or I mean with my dad here. I just wanted my dad's input because he's the older generation. He's the quote unquote old head. So something we can bring up for the list, because this is something you've debated with me off camera several times. Shaq's on the list. Shaq isn't even like Shaq. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this without pissing a bunch of people off. Shaq can't shoot at all. The main thing about Shaq being such an elite player was that he was a football player basically playing basketball. He's a 300-pound, 6-foot-something guy that's just dunking on everybody. But as soon as you get him outside the paint, he can't do anything. So, I don't know. Do you think...
But Nathan...
Yeah.
You fed him the ball in the paint. and that man would get it into the basket. I don't get me wrong. Is it okay? Let's go back to Artis Gilmore. Does Shaq rank among the top 10 in field goal percentage all time? No. Is he in the top 20? No. Is he in the top 50? No. No, he's not. But one way or another, he found a way to get it into the basket.
Yeah.
I need to, and
But I'm
this
just
is one
saying.
thing that I was going to say before
Yeah.
you close, is you gave me about 3 or 4 days to do research on some of the guys that I think should be in versus some of the guys that weren't in. So I don't have as much research as I would clearly like to have before I jumped on. But I'd like to find out where he ranked all time in rebounds. Obviously, he will never be above Dennis Rodman, and Rodman made the list. And that is one thing that I do like to see. When ESPN did put it out, there are several players, big and small players that made the list that statistically do rank in the top 10 in rebounds, and assists and points too, for that matter. But Shaq, yeah.
All I'm saying.
Aside from what I said, I'm not even going to touch that topic.
Because you were saying you brought up yourself a while back, where would Shaq be without Kobe? I'm saying don't even bring Kobe into the equation. I'm saying where would Shaq be if you took 50 pounds off of him, 100 pounds off of him, you know?
He's still going to have that wingspan. You know, he may not necessarily have that wingspan that Rodman did, but I mean, take 50 pounds off of him, and let's say he's a quicker Shaq than you ever saw when he played the game. You know, who knows? Maybe Shaq would be top 3 all time in rebounds if you took 50 pounds off of him.
Yeah. There's people saying that Kyrie should be on the list. I don't know about Kyrie. I feel like there's other people that we just discussed, like Vince Carter and stuff like that would go over Curry if a spot had to be replaced. So, but I mean the biggest arguments that I feel like at least everybody can agree on is Anthony Davis shouldn't be there, and I don't think Dame should be there. And there's people that are going to still say that, like, oh, AD and Dame should be there. But, I mean, come on. Like, Anthony Davis is not a top 75 player. Let's just face it, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, quick question. Without going on another 15-minute rant.
Mm-hmm.
Did Durant make the list?
Kevin Durant, yeah.
Oh, he did make the list.
Yeah, him and Harden got there together, because again it's alphabetical, so they did I think they did A through H or something. So Harden and Durant were there, and they did I through M or something, and then M through Z, or however the fuck they divided it up.
Okay.
But
never mind.
Yeah.
That's an oversight on my part. I didn't think Durant made the list.
No, Durant made it. Durant definitely had to have made it, especially after the NBA lane thing. But I just remember everybody joking, after the Bucks Nets game, because they both made the list, because it was Giannis just beat 2 people on the top 75 list, and then the Lakers have half their team is on the top 75 list except for Dwight Howard, who's on the Lakers, And then they got into a fight last night too, which I'll talk
Yeah,
about
I saw that.
tomorrow. And like a bunch of people were joking that the fight was because of the top 75 list, because AD made it and Dwight didn't, and they got into a fight, and it's like, yeah. But that'll be a video I talk about later. I'm going to talk about the Lakers team chemistry later, because Russ is arguing with people. Russ is arguing with refs. AD and Dwight are arguing with each other. LeBron's arguing with everybody. Russ has a bunch of turnovers, and it's like the team is just fucked right now. Carmelo was yelling at Russ and LeBron in preseason. Did you see that? I talked about the triple-double trouble. Oh, that rhymes. That's a triple rhyme. Triple-double trouble in preseason. Did you see that or no?
Yeah, well,
Carmelo.
briefly.
So they were, everybody made memes about it before preseason, and then preseason it came true. Basically, like, there was a shot that went off, and, like, missed, and Carmelo, Russell Westbrook, and LeBron all went for the rebound in order to get a triple-double. And Carmelo grabbed it and said, "Get the fuck out of here, it's mine." Like, literally out loud to where, like, the mic picked it up. So, I mean, you got shit like that,
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, anything else before I end it?
Nah,
right.
I'm good.
Nathan Buttnet. Yeah, no problem. Nathan Buttnet, episode 14, part 1, done. See